Steve Jobs is considered one of the most influential businessmen in the world. More than anything else, he's considered to be one of the best marketers in the business. But his best work did not come until 1997. It would be the first big public appearance that Steve Jobs made after he returned to Apple. So he took a lot of time to prepare for his speech. And finally, it was January 1997. The venue is the Macworld Conference in Boston.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome. Now I guess I'm going to have to give a speech. I came today to give you a status report on what's going on and to try to fill you in on some of the steps we're taking to get Apple healthy again.
Jobs inherited a company that he founded, but rather in a bad shape, business-wise. Sales had declined 30% in the last quarter of the previous year, and Microsoft had gained market share. The brand name had taken a beating, and Jobs had some real work to do, and he got to it. He looked at the company's endless list of products, and he called for his top managers, showed them the product list, and asked them one simple question: which ones do I tell my friends to buy? And when he got a long, winding answer, Jobs knew exactly what he had to do. He decided to cut Apple's products by 70%. And instead of bragging about the number of products Apple had, he switched the focus to something else.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers.
Think Different was a campaign that caught the world's attention. It helped relaunch the whole brand with an increased focus on Apple's values and purpose. And then you know what happened. iTunes, iPod, iPad, and the iPhone. Well, the rest is history. Instead of thinking about competition as enemies, Jobs decided to go and partner with them. In fact, it was the $150 million partnership with Microsoft that infused fresh life back into Apple when Jobs got back. And he went on to make friends in the music industry too, with the launch of iTunes. Well, this is not a video about Apple or Steve Jobs. It's about how Jobs went about transforming a completely declining business and turned it into one of the most powerful companies in the world today. Forbes called him a marketing genius. But what does it mean to be a marketing genius? Well, the answer lies in the plan and strategy that Jobs used in helping turn around a company that he founded many years ago. And if you carefully took a closer look at everything that Jobs did, it actually was not random. He had a framework in play, and I call it the MMMA framework of marketing. MMMA stands for market, message, monetization, and affinity. And these are the 4 key levers of any business. If you turn these levers the right way, you progress. But when you ignore even one of them, your business starts to go down. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple, many Apple employees lost their jobs. But that was done for a reason. It was not cost cutting. The Think Different campaign was a culmination of turning these 4 levers. And before we went on to look at these 4 levers closely, hit the like button and share this video with your friends. Now let's look at these 4 levers more closely. The first lever is the market. In simple terms, the question is, how well do you understand your market? By asking which ones do I tell my friends to buy, Jobs made a very important point. If you don't know who your market is, you don't have a business. And to give you some context, Apple manufactured products for many markets at that point in time. For example, they made the Newton, a personal digital assistant. They made computer displays, Macintosh servers, printers, speakers, the Apple Quick Take cameras, Apple Power CDs, CD players. Well, the list is endless. So that's what you do when you pick one market and decide to put all your energy and focus and resources in serving that one market. Instead of serving all kinds of customers, Jobs decided to serve only those who valued design and innovation. Well, the creators. So that's the first element in the MMMA framework. What's the next one? It's called messaging.
One of the greatest jobs of marketing in the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet, when you think of Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, as you know, they don't ever talk about the products. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do in their advertising? They honor great athletes and they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they are about. Apple spends a fortune on advertising. You'd never know it. You'd never know it. So when I got here, Apple just fired their agency. They were doing a competition with 23 agencies that, 4 years from now would have picked one. And we blew that up, and we hired Chiat, the ad agency that I was fortunate enough to work with years ago. We created some award-winning work, including the commercial voted the best ad ever made in 1984 by advertising professionals. And we started working about 8 weeks ago. And the question we asked was, our customers want to know who is Apple and what is it that we stand for? Where do we fit in this world? And what we're about isn't making boxes for people to get their jobs done, although we do that well. We do that better than almost anybody in some cases. But Apple's about something more than that. Apple, at the core, its core value, is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. That's what we believe.
And that was the core of Apple's messaging from that point on. And the messaging was consistent from everything they did, from product packaging to advertising to sales and marketing campaigns. Everywhere, they consistently use the same message. In other words, once you understand your market, it's this messaging that you use to consistently connect with that market. To get someone's attention, you got to know something about them, their name for starters, or where they live, or what they like. And only when you know these details that you can put together a message to get their attention. The Think Different ad was one of many ways Apple coined the message to its market. But it didn't end there, because Think Different was not just a slogan. It was a marketing campaign, and it was not complete without the rest of the company aligning to deliver on that promise. Apple has been able to nail their messaging so well because they understand the market and their desires so well. Even today, you get to see this on their website. The iPhone 14 Pro for professionals that want to have phones to shoot videos all day. You see this in their website copy. And for MacBook Air, for people that want to feel powerful, it also focuses on mass desire in today's market to have more power in smaller and lighter devices. And if you're interested in discovering the mass desires of your market, be sure to check out another video that I created to help you do that. In that, I use a spreadsheet-based tool to do this exercise that you can follow along to do for your market. And let's now move on to the third M in the MMMA framework, and it's called monetization. Imagine what would have happened had Steve Jobs decided to do the ads but not deliver the products and services. While Apple put out a message that they stood for design and innovation, it was also important for them to put out products that delivered on the promise, products that the market would pay for. And Apple did just that, starting with MacBook Air, the iPod, iTunes, and everything else that followed. And that's the third key in the MMMA framework, which is monetization. And that brings us to the fourth element of the framework, which is alliances and associations. Well, simply put, it's the relationships that we form with the people buying our products and the people with whom we build our products. And Steve Jobs did that really well too. Be it partnering with companies like Microsoft or forging alliances with independent music artists or with developers and customers, Jobs knew that marketing was never complete without forging these alliances or nurturing these relationships. And that's what you need to do with your business too. And with that, we cover the 4 elements of the MMMA framework that Steve Jobs used to turn around Apple. Now, let's quickly take a recap and look at each of these 4 elements really quick. First, we started with how Steve Jobs used the MMMA framework to turn around Apple. Then I walked you through the key elements of the MMMA framework. The first is the market. Well, it's important that we always stay on top of the market, understand it really well, because without understanding a market really well, it's impossible for us to create targeted value in the long run. The second M is the message. Learning to use the right language to communicate with the market is as important as understanding the market in the first place. And when you've nailed your message, it shows up everywhere. On your website, your product packaging, the talks you give at conferences, the ads that you run, everywhere. The third M is monetization. And monetization is not just about making money, but what we create to make money. And the more specific and intentional we are about our market, we can create products, services, and experience that clearly echo our understanding of the market and its messaging. And that's why you feel different when you use an Apple product. And lastly, we discussed the fourth element, which is the alliances and associations. Because despite everything else you do, the alliances you form help you run the home stretch. Jobs could not have turned around Apple but for these alliances. Even today, Jobs is remembered as someone who forged these alliances. It's these alliances that helped take Apple from the company it once was to a company that it is today, $1 trillion business. And for small businesses, it comes down to the relationships that you have with your customers, the emails you send, and the partnerships that you form with other businesses. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you're interested in knowing how to use the MMMA framework to build your small business, go ahead and check out the 90-day marketing plan right below in the description and create a customized 90-day marketing plan using the MMMA framework for your small business. Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the subscribe button right below and turn the notifications so you know when the next video comes out. I'll see you in the next one.